So as promised today, I'll be making a YouTube video about my interview experience at Roche. And before I get into it, I would like to go through the company profile and go through about what the company does and what kind of industry it's in, and also talk about statistics of hiring, which means how many employees are currently active in the year given. So to begin, Roche is a pharmaceutical company that also specializes in pharmaceuticals and diagnostics, and is located worldwide but headquartered in Switzerland. And if you live in the United States, it's most notable for taking ownership of Genentech. Because I remember back in the day, I think it's like early 2000s, Genentech was an independent company before Roche took over. And as of 2022, it has upwards to 106,000, no, sorry, 103,000 employees. And let's dive into my interview experience. So a few weeks ago, I had an interview experience with Roche. This one, I don't know, I think she's either a communications manager or a marketing manager. And it was a really tough interview, but because of my neurodivergence. I mean, the interview was going pretty well. I mean, the person who was interviewing me, I feel is a credible person. That person is not too young and not the same age as me, which I have qualms with because that just makes the opportunity to get a job offer really, really hard, especially if you have a communication disorder. So, from my perspective, I felt the interview went pretty well. I felt that the person who was interviewing me actually understands that I have a communication disorder, and they understand that I have a hard time answering all the questions. I mean, I like how the person who interviewed me is very accommodating. I mean, looking at Roche's company profile, they are involved with promoting diversity and inclusion. That includes people who are neurodivergent or have other mental health challenges. And for the questions wise, I find it to be very, I wouldn't say easy, but very medium to answer. I mean, I had no trouble answering the questions, and I did have a little bit trouble trying to get my voice correct. I mean, I've gotten a lot of complaints from interview trainers that my voice is too confident, and even from my own mother, she said the same thing. But I find that I was able to relax my voice and answer each interview question one by one without looking all confident. And I was able to answer each question coherently. And that person who was interviewing me was really patient about it. And I find this to be one of my dream workplaces because I applied for them multiple times, and I realized that the HR there has gotten a little bit nicer, which means they are able to be more respectful of those who have a hard time getting a job and a hard time communicating in the job interview. And that is pretty good because people like me really have a hard time getting hired outside of a minimum wage, and that is not okay. So questions are pretty generic. I mean, tell me about your educational experience and tell me about your previous internships. I mean, these are easy run of the mill questions that are easy to answer. And I realized that one thing I did do well is I actually always have my secret weapon follow up question after the interview. I mean, that is what is one thing you wish you didn't realize before you got hired at your company? And that is a question that everyone likes. And I did give examples. And I find it to be a luckily not so short interview. I mean, it took me 25 minutes to go through that whole entire interview. So Now the question is, would I recommend it for people who are neurodivergent? And that is, yes, I would. If you like a challenging interview, if you're looking for the opportunity to improve your communication skills, if you have a communication disorder, definitely go for it. I mean, I find it to be really aligning with my objectives in getting hired and job interviews, and that is to build up my communication skills. I find it a Roche interview to actually do just that, whether or not I get a job offer or not. I mean, I don't see Tesla doing it. I don't see Microsoft doing it. I never actually interviewed with Microsoft. I just find it to be a lot less challenging. But in terms of challenging, I would rate this interview at a 7 out of 10. I mean, would recommend it for everyone. And if you like a challenge, go right ahead because difficulty level is like 80%. So if you're interested in working for pharmaceuticals and diagnostics, and you're looking for a good internship in marketing and or communications, definitely apply to Roche. So that ends this YouTube video. In my next video, I'll talk about an old phone interview that I had in 2015 with this company called Albin Engineering. Now, that video will be a lot shorter than this because I don't remember much from that interview. Thank you very much and happy job applying. And if you're interviewing, best of luck to you. Signing off.